today's subject. So I think a lot of people have this relationship with plateauing, okay, like it's a bad thing. Let me know if you feel like it's a negative thing for you. If you see plateauing as a negative thing, do you see it as a negative thing? Do you see it as a positive thing? So I see it as a real positive thing. And let me tell you why. So for a lot of the time, for people that are working on themselves, okay, you can only really plateau if you're going through a journey. If you're not showing up, your whole life is a plateau, right? You're just flattened out. There's no growth. So what we need is to understand that the plateau coming after growth is really key. So we go through this element of growth, okay? And we take our lives and we go through it, right? And we go like, this is what I'm doing these courses, I'm educating myself, I'm investing in myself, I'm investing in my time and my energy. I'm investing in my how to manage my time properly. I'm investing in how to be a better husband, how to be a better father, all of those things. And when we grow, as you know, if you went to the gym and you were lifting weights, eventually, at some point, fatigue is going to set in, okay? You can overlearn, like you can overlift, right? Or you can overtrain. And one of the things that I think is important is to have an element or a period of time where we just plateau. Okay, so like if I was training really, really hard, and I'm training really hard with jiu-jitsu at the minute, and I've been training really hard earlier in the year for my running, and what I would end up doing is going like 6 weeks all in. So I go through this growth element of training really hard, consistently showing up, but every 6 weeks or so, for a week, I would just cut right back. And that's to let my body recover, that's to let all of the knowledge of the jiu-jitsu techniques, or let my body recover in running or in business, let my brain settle back down. And I would call this, instead of plateauing, I would call it maintenance, okay? So if we look here, we go through this maintenance cycle. So look at it as a growth maintenance cycle. So we grow, we get to the next level, then we're ready to grow again, okay? And if we just had this growth element going here, which is good, can we sustain it? So let's look at the 6 things that we can get from this maintenance plateau cycle, okay? So number 1, so the first thing that we can do is we can get an element of reflection on the growth that we've just had, okay? So we can, I think reflection is really important. When we review, when we reflect, we understand things at a much higher level, in a much more conscious mindset. So we can take away our learnings, we can take away our failings, we can take away how we conducted ourselves through that process and what the distractions were and what the triggers were and how you prioritized. And it's just a really good way of going, okay, now I've reflected on that, I've reviewed on that, I can take that into the next phase of my journey. Okay, so do we get a chance to do that if we're constantly on this cycle of growth? We probably don't, okay, after a certain time. We get a certain amount of time of embedment, so we can embed all of the new skills that we've learned on this growth. So a lot of our clients, for example, will go on a course when they join us. So our Elite Movement Blueprint, they come in, they follow these 10 frameworks, these 10 courses, and they'll consume all of this education about how to manage your time, how to plan, how to show up at a higher level, okay? And then we need that embedding phase. So I need to embed everything I've learned about planning over 28 days. I need to embed the morning routine. I need to embed an evening routine. I need to embed the accountability system, so it brings it all in, okay? Then we've got our structure here. So we are making sure that we're implementing structure, routine, and system consistently. We have this constant growth cycle, or this arrow going all the way up. Okay, what ends up happening is that you sometimes can forget the foundations that keep you going. All right, so we're trying to build this structure, routine, and system, but we're growing really high here. The pressure's on. So because the pressure's on, we're looking to cut corners. And when we cut corners, we cut things like routine and structures and systems. So here, this allows us maybe a 2-week period, maybe a month period, maybe 3 months, just to embed structures, routines, and systems. Okay. Then we come up to here. So then we can look at, we can practice everything that we've learned. Okay, so you can test different stuff. You can test different morning routines, different planning structures, systems. You can learn continuously. So all the stuff you've learned from this growth phase, what we can then do is actually learn that stuff. And this is the thing about personal development. People will read books after book after book after book, but they never really implement the book. And what people are doing is going through, all right, I've read that book, next book, I've read that book, next, but we're not actually practicing or learning the things that we've learned in there. So if I look at my second book, so Remember the Mission, second book, in here, it teaches you everything you need to know about building long-term vision. But what people will do is read through this and then go, right, next book, right, blah, 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 blah. And it's important that, like I would recommend anyone reading a book, is read the book a second time, extract all of the gold nuggets or highlight them with a highlighter pen, okay? And then on the second month, start implementing a lot of the systems and the structures of that book. And then in the third month, you can then actually practice them on a regular daily basis. So actually out of what you could get one book, and you read that one book in a quarter, you could learn everything from it. So that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm reading a book, or it's more of a business strategy book. I've read it twice. I'm now starting to implement the course. And then what I'll end up doing is the next couple of months is start putting that into practice into my business. Boom, 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 and start implementing. So instead of trying to read hundreds of different books, I'm just reading one. But what that is the reading phase. So we're growing by learning, taking stuff in, implementing it, seeing how we can use it within our business or our life or our health or relationships. The maintenance is actually doing the work, okay, off the book and what I'm learning with, and then I'm ready to learn and grow again by maybe reading another book and going through the same cycle, okay? And then this gives you a time to be consistent and disciplined, okay? So plateauing actually gives you this like station, this platform, this process of being able to focus on all of these things before we then go on. And I think that's essential. When this doesn't happen, that's when I think that people become quite inconsistent because they haven't embedded the growth phase. All right. So you can look at plateau in a different way. Okay. Make sense to everybody? Cool. So next week, we're straight back Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Obviously, we're going to be focusing on next week very much about getting back to routine, kids going back to school, getting our mind in the right place, getting our body in the right place, getting our planning in the right place. So I will stick up what we're going to be covering on Sunday evening. Make sure you got yourself on the Awaken the Potential. If you've done that, we'll probably see you in the Brotherhood as well. So where you'll be hopefully working with some of us. And that's it. Hope you've had a good week. It's flown by. And we will catch you Monday.